offensive.
People love assholes. I mean, you don't have to be super offensive to be an asshole, but being an asshole is really entertaining. And I don't know why, but I think it's because everybody is so afraid to be an asshole in their daily life that seeing somebody else, when it's not in your face, like it's not like they're standing next to you, like screaming at the barista about how their coffee isn't right. When it's not like really close, or you're watching it on stage, or you're watching it on TV, or you're hearing it in a podcast, or on... They love that because they're living vicariously through you. Mm-hmm. They're like, yeah, I want to fucking say that to my boss. You cunt.
Right.
But...
Yeah, no, I can see that for sure.
Yeah, I think that's what it is. I think that's why people love assholes. Right up until they start associating daily or like weekly when you have like a regular...
Yeah.
And it's I guess it's a lot to do with the spirit of being an asshole. Like, there's a playful asshole,
right?
And then there's just there's the reaming asshole, you know?
No, that's exactly it. Is some people are just like they find things to nitpick and to be a total shithead about.
Yeah.
There's shitheads and then there's assholes. No, I won't separate.
So assholes are okay. It's okay to be an asshole, but if you're a shithead,
be a shithead.
Don't be a shithead.
Don't be a shithead. Dick.
You just reach up onto your head and pull off a glob of shit and just smear it on your face.
Be an asshole.
Fair enough.
Be an asshole. At least then you got one eye.
Talking about offending people a little bit, though, I wanted to say that me and Dev mentioned this last week, how we felt that it's important for some people to offend people, and I stick by that. I wanted to see what you thought about that, though. I see, whenever you're offended, you're pushed to think, you're pushed out of your comfort zone. You have to experience something you're not used to. If you were never offended, you wouldn't be growing. Situations that push you out of your comfort zone help you grow. I'm not saying that like we should all learn how to dodge spears because that'll one day come in handy. I'm saying learning how to not be offended by something, or even to hear it and to collect that thought, but not get get all emotional about it is something that's really, really handy. I've met several adults that I'm like, wow, they do a great job in whatever they do, politics, whatever. But then when I get to know them better, I'm like, they're emotionally acting, and they're acting like big, whiny kids. Mm-hmm. And it drives me nuts because I'm like, you need to be offended. You need to be offended to the point where if someone comes up to you and goes, fuck you, you go, why? Instead of going, no, fuck you, back. It's something that everyone should experience. We all need to be offended. Do you agree with that?
We need to be offended. I don't know. I would say you don't need to be offensive in order to grow. Mm-hmm. You need to have the desire to grow. I don't think that being offensive and the ability to grow are connected. I think that they have they are related and may travel parallel paths, but people who are not offended can still grow, and people who are offended cannot grow. Mm-hmm. I would think that the Dalai Lama, who is all about personal and spiritual growth, is not offended continually. Mm-hmm. And here is a man who's got a lot of reasons to be offended.
Right.
And great, I am using the most extreme example. Mm-hmm. I will grant I am using a very extreme example in order to prove my point. Mm-hmm. So I'll use a moderate example. I'm sure everybody has family that that they've pissed off. Mm-hmm. I mean, everybody's got family that they've pissed off to one degree or another.
Right.
You can... You take that moment where you've angered somebody that you care about, and you can grow from it, mm-hmm. and go, well, I mean, if they're your brother or if they're a close one, you go, okay, that's what it takes to get under this one's skin, and you start working on it. That is still that's not growth.
Right.
It's learning. It's underhanded. It's sneaky. But it's not growth. Growth is, this gets under their skin.
Right.
Maybe this isn't the best time to be doing something like this. It's harder to prove your point with a moderate example than an extreme example, which is why I like moderate examples. Because if you can use a moderate example to prove your point's probably accurate.
Right. Yeah, no, I agree. And there are different kinds of offensive, too. Like sometimes I'm offensive on purpose, and it makes people go, why did he just say that? But 2 or 3 people will find out exactly why I said it. And I swear, sometimes it'll look like I'm just literally trying to be an asshole. And sometimes I really am, just because I'm trolling. But sometimes I'll say something that it's like 90% of the people will say, why would you fucking say that? And the other 10% will go, okay, I see where you're coming from with that. And it's not that I'm trying to piss these people off. It's just that I want them to be uncomfortable. They need to learn to be uncomfortable.
Well, you want to try and force growth on people, I think. I get the impression that you're really upset with just dumb people around you. Like people, not even dumb people, just people who refuse to think.
Right.
It's not even that they're incapable of it.
Right.
It's just they've been handed something that's easy and palatable. And it's easier to live your life by this thing you've been handed than actually putting any critical thought into your existence.
Right. And critical thinking, again, that's just so important to me. Me and Luke discuss this all the time. If someone were to come up to you and say, fuck you, your podcast sucks, it's like, all right, whatever, go away. But if someone came up to you and said, your podcast sucks and here's some reasons why, I would sit down with them and listen. Because if you come at me with like a reason, you're not just emotional. It's not just you did something to me, so fuck you and the things that you do. You know, like if someone goes, I listened to it, it fucking blows, and here's why I think that. I won't hate them. No. I will respect that because they thought about it. And a lot of people don't do that. And that's a really great thing to have because you really learn how to, like, when you're put in a situation where you're uncomfortable, you stop and you think about it.
Jeez. I don't know. I think a lot of people, when they get into a situation where they're uncomfortable, really try to remove themselves from the situation and try to get away from the situation. And depending on the person you are, is whether you put any analysis into the situation or you go, whew.
Right.
Sorry, what were you saying?
I'm just thinking, like, it's always a matter of if you're willing to learn or not. If you're not willing to learn, it doesn't matter how offensive you are. You're not going to make them learn anything at all. If they're willing to learn, but they don't have anybody being, like, challenging their mindset, then they're not going to learn either. Just like what you said before. Yeah. So you do need to have somebody being not so much offensive, just challenging what their thought process is. And that's probably somewhat being offensive because, you know, you're not going along with what they originally agree with.
In Zen, there's a process called Zen questioning. It's what masters do to their students. And basically, they deconstruct a person's preconceptions only by asking them questions and making them delve deeper and explain their thing. And what you end up to is, like, everything is really based on preconceptions.
Right.
You have most of what we understand are based on preconceptions given to us by our family or our senses. I mean, up until Galileo, the genuine preconception was that heavy things fell faster than light things. Nobody bothered to test it for, like, over 1,000 years.
Well, why would you? It makes complete sense.
It makes perfect sense. It's completely intuitive. So that's what our common sense and what has been passed down to us has told us.
Right.
But that's exactly why I think you need to have people that are pushing the boundaries to an extent. Now, I'm not talking about bullying or really forcing shit.
I mean something simple as if you dig up a dinosaur bone so that you find out when a creature was in a certain place, and you say, listen, we found this, it was in this place. Some people are going to go, no, that's not true because this is what I know. It's in this book that these weren't here then. So that's not true. They're offended by that. But and then you're not trying to be offensive. You're just saying, listen, this is just, we found a bone. Like, and that's not even trying, you're not trying to force it on them. You're just saying, hey, look, we found this. I'm not trying to change your mind. You can believe whatever you want. But there is a bone here from this time, and you have a book, for instance. So you're going to offend people, which is, it happens. Like, whiskey's coming. Sorry, whiskey, I didn't mean to. No, but like that's what I mean by offending people or pushing them out of their comfort zone. Is sometimes it's not.
Don't you find that kind of it's intrusive, because some people really might be the wrong time to be pushing them.
Right.
That's exactly why I said you have to be willing to learn first.
Yeah.
You have to.
And you also shouldn't be pushing.
Yeah.
Like I don't say things to people to offend them. I say things out loud. And then if they want to get offended,
they get offended.
Right. That's up to them, which is totally fine.
Yeah, that's fair.
But if I say things out loud like I offended a ton of people back when the rape happened here by saying let's not put these kids' names on the internet, because then there will be a witch hunt for them and these kids might die and we don't know exactly what happened yet. And everyone hated me. Yeah. They were really angry with me. Like, you defend rape, fuck you, buddy. And I was like, really? I'm like, I thought that was being thoughtful, not fucking throwing these 4 kids to the dogs before we knew what was happening. So I was the offensive one there.
Yeah.
Well,
no, they're stupid and they're being offended over nothing, and I get that. But I'm going to offend people inevitably.
Yeah, it's just like, we have to do something. It's a what about the children mentality. We'll save the children.
Right. And an emotional response.
An angry emotional response, and one that is made from people associating with Rita Parsons,
right? And I don't blame them for that, because like, who doesn't? If a little kid got hit, which human wouldn't want to go, who the fuck hit that kid? That's what we go to. But if you take a second to think about it, you're like, okay, I need to not react. I need to think. Because it's very human to react. And I don't blame
kid's
them.
Running around, and he ran eye first into a doorknob. Okay, so he's not actually being beaten.
Right.
That's it.
And you don't want to jump to a conclusion, because, sometimes these things happen. I'm not saying, like I said, I don't blame people for having an emotional response. That just happens. Mm-hmm. I do it. Everyone does it. We're all human. But it really helps to look at what a person's saying before just jumping to being offended.
Well, people just jump to emotional points and then feed it. Right? Like, you jump to a point and then you just ruminate. You put your mind in it and you just start on the hate. You just start hating, and then you find something to hate and you make it bigger and bigger and bigger until you're really pissed. And it was something. It wasn't really, it could have been nothing. The guy that cut you off in traffic, but it's that the guy that cut you off in traffic made you get late for work, and your boss and it just gets blown out, and it all came from the guy who when it had nothing to do with that.
No.
If you didn't want to be late for work, you should have left 10 minutes earlier.
Right.